project for their Visual Basic .NET course, we've got our choice of programs. So for all the programs, they want you to write a couple of complex programs. In my course, I'm not requiring you to do 2. I'm going to require you to choose from among the 4 below. So it says doing so will require you to use all the concepts presented in this course, from planning the project to fixing errors. You may also have to do some research on new codes to use. Make sure you follow all the rules found in the course overview unit. You will submit each of the following for each of the 2 projects. It says, i.e., you're essentially doing this project twice. And once again, I'm asking you to do it 1 time. Alright, I'm not asking my class to do the flowchart design, although with the first project, I present the flowchart with that. They say program code in Notepad document. For my class, if you do not have Visual Basic Express, of course you're going to code in Notepad, correct? Alright. Otherwise, you're going to code in Visual Basic Express. I don't need both, I need one. Obviously, if you're not doing a flowchart, I'm not requiring flowchart revisions. I don't particularly need to see your log of errors that you encounter when you're debugging the program. And since we've never required you to have a maintenance plan before, I'm not going to require it from you now. So what am I looking for? Basically your program, right? So you want to watch out that you include the following key features. You should have a command block at the top with key information. This is standard. If you do this all the time with program, you might as well get used to it. Okay, just put your personal information. What's this program going to do? Put it at the top. It says use single and multi-line comments. I don't care, however you go about writing your comments. It can be 1 line or several. It's up to you. Definitely use basic program fundamentals. Use exception handling and instructions that print for users' understanding of the program. Don't worry about instructions. Option 2 says, write a program that would resemble a checkbook register that will ask for input, both deposits and debit, and keep a running total in that person's bank account. The total would be given upon request of the user. Since it's supposed to resemble a checkbook register, I'm assuming that they want Windows Form project. So this will be my Windows Form project. In this particular class, I'm not showing you how to do option 3 or 4. Okay? Okay, this is the coding that I have for project 2. And I wanted to give you guys a close-up of it. And remember, if you call your button deposit radio button, then you can use deposit radio button in your code. But if you called it deposit button in your code, you need to use deposit button. With this project, we're going to call this one a checkbook. So I'm going to do a new project. And obviously, this is not a console application. I'm going to make it into a Windows Form application. So I'm going to click that open. And I'm going to call this one a checkbook. I click OK. Okay, it starts off with a form. So what are we going to do with this form? First off, open up this toolbar. And that's going to give me some options here. So the first thing I want to do is I want to rename my form. So I'm going to double click on Form 1. Oops. Click on Form 1 here. So I've got the form highlighted. So now I want to change the text up here from Form 1 to Checkbook. So I click down here where it says Text Form 1. And I'm just going to write in here Checkbook. I want to give this some kind of a color. So I'm going to come up to find background color. Okay, I'll click that. What I'll do is I'll go to custom, and how about a light green? So now there's three things that we want. You can either have a deposit, a check, and or a service fee. They're going to write one of those. We'll give radio buttons. That means that they can choose one of these choices. So I'll click this up here, and I'll just put this there. Now radio button 1, we'll call this one deposit. So I'll come down to where the text is. It says radio button 1. I'll click it, double click, and we'll call it deposit. Okay, so I don't want to call this one radio button 1 because when I look at the coding, that's not going to mean anything to me. So I'm going to call this one deposit button. Okay, so I'll come up here to the name. This is radio button 1. So I'll double click that, and I'll just call it deposit button. So I'll make another button here. I'll drag up the next one, line it up. This radio button I'll call check. One of the options is we can write a check, right? So we'll come all the way down where it says radio button 1. I'll call this one check. I'll go up to the top, and I'll name this, instead of radio button 1, I'll name this in my coding check button. So I'm going to have a service fee. So I'll do my last radio button, the last option we'll have here, service. We'll call it service fee. So we'll come on down. And I'll call this one service fee. And I'll name the button service fee button. Don't put any spaces in these names now, or it's not going to work. The next thing I want is some kind of a text box. So I click text box, and I come over here. I'll put it there. It's going to automatically have text in there. You tell the user what to put in here. So I can put a $0.0.00. I guess a good name for this is amount text box. So I'll come to the top. I'll call this amount text box. You know, whether it's a deposit, a check, or a service fee, it's going to be some amount, right? And I'll also give it a label and call it amount so that the user knows what to put in there. So I'm not going to use the label in coding, so it's not important that I give it the label a name. I'll just leave it as label 1. Or I'll put the text in amount, so we've labeled this text box here. Okay, it's important that you line these up so they look good. Okay, what else do I need? I need a balance. So I'm going to put another text box up here. Bring it down a little bit. And I'm going to put in the text of 0.00. This is just to, if I leave nothing in there, the user won't know how to write it. So this is kind of like my prompt to let him know that he's writing it in dollars and cents. So I'm going to come on up, and I'm naming this balance text box. Should put a label up here telling them that the balance is going to go here. And this one isn't going to be used in coding because it's just a label. So I'm going to go down to the text. I'm going to write in there balance, because that's what I want it to show. And let me just pull that up a little bit. There we go. Maybe over a tad. There we go. Maybe I'll line it up that way. Okay. And now what I want to do is I want to put in some buttons. Let me put in a calculate button. I'll click on the button. Just drive it in here. Where it says text button 1, all I want the button to say is calculate, so they know to press that to calculate. And now I'm going to name the button for when I code the button. Calculate button, how about? I want another button. Let me give an exit button here. So when you want to end the program, so come up here, call the text, write on there exit. Now you can color up these buttons, you can color up the text, does not have to be black on white, okay? Go up to the top, and I name this one exit button. Okay, one more thing, I'm going to put an about here. You don't have to have an about box. I just think it looks kind of cool to have one, so I like to put one on there. And this is usually the information you have to have comments in your comment header instead of having its own button here. I'm just going to call it about. Go to the end, erase that one. And come on down, and where it says text, I'm going to put in here, I want it about. So when I press it, they get the about information. Just click enter. So now I'm all ready to go and code this. Unless I want to make some improvements here, I can always color something up, like calculate button I can make yellow. I'll just show you how to do different colors and stuff like that. So I can go up here, the foreground takes care of the text, so I can change that color. So let me make it custom color. Make it blue. See, there it turned blue, didn't it? Font, you can change the font, so I'll click the font. So what do you want to change it to? Well, I don't know, lots of things you can use. I'll kind of like stencil, and I'll make it a little bigger. It's on 8, I'll make it 12. There you go. And then I'll make that button yellow. I'll come up here. There you go. So we're all set as far as this making the form goes. So I'm going to click my Save All button. And Checkbook sounds like a nice thing to call it. I'll just click Save. Next I'm going to go into my Form 1B. So here you can see remember I tell you guys that when do you need an event? You need an event when you use a Windows form, okay? But before we get into this, I will need to put something above my my form. I need to put in here my import statement. So I'm going to import system. So now I'm going to make some declarations here. I'm going to have a decimal amount that I'm going to call trans amount. So the first thing we're going to do is we have a balance. Now we're going to have a new balance for after we've done the calculation. Now you can either have a deposit, a check, or a service. So we're going to have dim deposit, declare a deposit. Next we're going to declare a check. Next we're going to declare a service. Okay, now what I'm going to do is delete this space. Also I'm going to do is reference this by putting in me close. Okay, me refers to the form load. Okay, I don't have to write all this stuff again. All I need to do is write me and close. So let's do a sub. Let's click the About button. Go back to the form design, double click About button. See, it already wrote everything I need about the About button. So what do I want to happen when the user clicks the About button? I want a message box to come up to tell me, say this is the programmer, program 1.0, and we're going to have this called Checkbook by L. Hadley, and our description is going to be it updates the balances. Now this is what you can put up as your header information. I'm just putting it here as a button because I can. But you can put the information like that up in header to do that part of the assignment. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click the Calc button. So I'm going to go back here, click the Calc button, just double click it. See, here it is. It just puts all that information. What happens when you click on the button? I want change the balance amount to currency style. So let me put that in there. For the balance, I want to make sure that it's formatted a certain way. So I'm going to put that in there first. Now the way I found this out was I made mistakes. I had some error codes, and this is how I got around them. Okay, so that's why I've got balance as parsed as a decimal. Okay, and transaction amounts, I'm going to do the same thing. So going into the amount text box, I want whatever they put in there to be parsed as currency style, and that's just because of errors I had. Okay, I can have one of three buttons pushed. They can push the deposit button. If they push the deposit button, then I'm going to have the deposit is equal to the balance plus the transaction amount, and the resulting balance is going to show whatever that deposit is. So let me write that in there. Okay, so if they didn't choose a deposit, then maybe they chose the check. So I'm going to see, is the check button checked? So once again, if that's the case, then the check is equal to the balance minus the transaction amount. We're going to do a check to see if they entered a wrong amount. Okay, so if they don't have enough in their account, we're going to give them a service fee. And then we're going to tell them they've got a problem, they have a negative balance. So then I'm going to go else if the check is greater than 0, then the balance is equal to check. So there's no problem if it's not going to go under 0. So the last one I'm going to look at is, it was a service radio button checked? If so, then the balance is $10 plus the transaction amount. And the balance is going to be service. So there you go. So now all I have to do is end my if. So this is the place right here that I would want to do to check my exception, right around this area, because this is where where the user puts in something is usually where you generate an error. So once again, I'm going to just catch whatever error they're going to put in. So I'm going to come up here. I'll do my try statement up here. And I'll come down to after the last end if. And I'll do catch EX's exception. And then I'll just have a message box to show whatever the exception message is. And I'm going to end my try. Well, my try should go under the private sub declaration. So put it, enter, and put it up here. That should work. What's my error here? Let me see what I called my service button. Service fee button. Okay. Here we go. So let me try it. I'll run this. So I took out that me close right in here. Let me try it now. Okay, so let me put in an amount here. Then $70. Put in $70. Okay, you gotta watch your spelling. I'm gonna put in an amount. Click calculate, and my balance comes up here. I write a check, put an amount here, $2, and click calculate, and it'll come there. And to do a $10 service fee, obviously, it's going to give me a negative balance. So I'm going to come over here and give me another deposit. I'll put in here 50. So there we go. Now I can do a service fee. Put in 10. Calculate. There you go. So now what I'll do is I'll click the About button. So there you go. There's my little pop-up comes up and tells me the description that I wanted to put in there. Now I can click Exit and I'm done with the program. So that's what you want. So let me get this bigger so you can see the whole program. So my coding may not match yours, but it should look something like this. Okay? Remember, when you click on the button, it provides half this code for you. Alright, I copied and pasted a lot of this into the form so that the program would go by faster. You wouldn't have to watch me write all of it, but you may have to just pause it so you can write it all if you're going to do something similar to mine. Okay, so here's this section. Okay, this is something for this, you don't worry about this last part. That was I just clicked on something I shouldn't have, but this is what should end here. Balance text box amount, balance to string C, and there you go. That should end your form. And I hope you enjoyed the project. See you in class.